welcome back to Lone Wolf, Kai Chronicles. We're on to book 4, The Chasm of Doom. And we actually survived the last 2 books, so we have a lot of stuff. Alright then. Let's read the blurb. Ranon is a remote mining province to the south of your homeland, Summerland. Nestling between the sullen peaks of the Dernkrag and Marken mountains, the people of this province have long prospered from their toil in the oil-rich mines, living and enjoying their wealth under the protection of their lord, Baron Vanalond. The golden gems that are mined at Ranon yield an important source of revenue to your homeland. A heavily guarded convoy of wagons that leave the province and journey to the capital has become a regular monthly routine. A routine that had never been broken until 1 month ago, when suddenly all contact with Ranon ceased. A troop of 100 cavalry from the King's Guard were immediately dispatched to investigate the whereabouts of the missing convoy. I'm just rereading that. Okay. Their commanding officer, Captain Duval, was ordered to report back to the king as soon as contact was made, but he and his men have not returned. They too have disappeared without trace. The king has summoned you, Lone Wolf, last of the Kai Lords, to his citadel at Holmgard. Your quest is to find Captain Duval and his men, discover what has happened to the missing convoy, and to uncover the veil of mystery that now hangs over Ranon. The king has gathered a company of border rangers, a unit of elite scouts, all of whom are skilled in horsemanship and outdoor survival. He has ordered these 50 men to accompany you, in the hope that with your leadership they may succeed where a larger and more visible force failed. We get 50 rangers! We're going to lose them all quickly, aren't we? As you and your men enter the royal armory to equip yourself for the long ride ahead, you glimpse a black crow perched on a window ledge high above. It flies away, but not before a shiver has run down your spine. In Holmgard, the crow is a bird of ill omen. Alright, so we go through the usual stuff. We get to choose another discipline. So we already have a whole bunch. It's tempting to take weapon skill, but I mean, we still have the summer sword, so there's no point. Mind shield. I think it's about time we take mind shield. It does actually help sometimes. Alright. 14 gold crowns. We can pick this stuff. Chainmail waistcoat. Wait, we've already got... This waistcoat adds 2 endurance points, so... we can... This is better. Shield. It's 2 points to your combat skill. We've already got a shield. Can you have more than one? We already have a shield, alright. We just take this one then. But we can't equip both of these, can we? It's letting us have both, but I don't think you're allowed to. We'll have to discard this one. We'll check the rules in a moment. Alright, let's see. One on the body, yeah, so... can't really wear both. We'll discard the other one. And I'll take... the potion, I suppose. So we are now Guardian. Wait, we've got a map. Ah, okay, so that's Homeguard. So now we see the south part of this world. Wow, okay, there's a lot down here. We start at Homeguard, I assume. Three days, you lead your brave company of rangers across the lush plains of southern Summerland on the first stage of your urgent mission. Flat, treeless fields surround you with a seemingly endless expanse of wheat, so high that even though you're in the saddle, it reaches well above your knees. Your horses seem to be swimming through a vast yellow sea of corn that is only interrupted by an occasional track or group of isolated farmhouses. The southerners welcome your sudden appearance, but you only make the briefest stops for food and rest, neither wishing to risk becoming a burden, nor alarm these good people with your mission. By noon on the fourth day, you reach the pass of Moitura. Here the plains give way to the broken foothills of the Derncrag Mountains. You soon reach a highway, the surface cracked and full of potholes, heading off towards the south. This is the notorious Rannon Pike. South of the pass, the Rannon Pike crosses 100 miles of open territory known as Raiders Road. Bandit tribes from the Wildlands and Jack warbands from the mountains of the west frequently ambush those who travel along the pike, and the regular shipment of gold and gems from the mines at Rannon have sometimes yielded rich pickings to these merciless robbers. Point and flankers, you shout, and immediately 3 groups of rangers peel away from the column and spur their horses to gallop. You watch with pride as the expert horsemen take up their scouting positions to the front and side of the company. It is late afternoon when a ranger scout approaches the company from the west. He points towards a craggy outcrop where a thin spiral of wood smoke betrays a hut hidden beneath the overhanging rock. Sure, let's check it out. Escort of 5 rangers accompanies you along the twisting narrow track that leads to the hut. The rough stone walls are covered with a damp moss, into which is set a curious oval wall. There are no windows. You have dismounted and are approaching the door when suddenly a man's voice calls from inside the hut. Come in, Lone Wolf. I've been expecting you. Okay. I mean, we've got no reason to think it's a trap or something. In the dim light of the interior, you see an old man seated at a table. The flicker of a log fire is all that illuminates this foul-smelling hovel, yet it sheds enough light for you to see the clutter of charts and strange instruments that crowd the hut. The man slowly raises his gaze from a large crystal sphere and bids you sit opposite him. You know my name, how? You ask warily. The stars foretold our meeting long ago, Lone Wolf, he replies, slowly passing his withered old hands around the sphere. Be not alarmed by my knowledge, for I wish only to aid you. He produces a small scroll of parchment from within his robe and hands it to you. Upon the scroll is written the following verse. When the full moon shines o'er the temple deep, a sacrifice will stir from sleep. The legions of a long-forgotten lord, when a fair royal maid on the altar dies, the dead of Mark and Gorge shall rise, to claim their long-awaited reward. Okay. You ask the meaning of this strange verse, but the old man does not answer you. He seems to have fallen into a deep trance. You lean across the cluttered table to awaken him and are shocked to see your hand pass straight through his body. Gradually his image begins to fade. Within seconds he has disappeared completely. So we get a scroll. You have ridden less than 5 miles when you see a group of wagons on the highway ahead. They are painted in a gaudy mix of bright colors and drawn by teams of oxen. A huge tasseled banner flies above the leading wagon, which bears the following proclamation. The famous Asagia players, troubadours to the imperial courts of Magnamund. probably playing some music, so... Sure, let's talk to them. Oh, what the heck is going on here? You signal to the driver to stop. The wagons halt and a small moon-faced man in a bright pink tunic throws open the rear door of the leading carriage. He shouts and curses the driver as he descends the ladder, pausing only to adjust the cummerbund that barely covers his huge stomach. Seeing your men, he lets out a strangled shriek and fumbles for a short sword hanging at his side. Bandits! Robbers! Do we look like bandits? He cries and wrestles to free his sword from its ornate scabbard. A row of anxious faces appears at the wagon windows, but the expressions soon change to a smile when they recognize your soul-lending uniforms. Calm yourself, Yesu, shouts an elderly woman. They are some-lending rangers. They will not steal your gold. Laughter ripples along the carriages, and the little fat man suddenly unsheathes his sword with such force that he spins around and tumbles to the ground. You must forgive Yesu, says the old woman. He means you no harm. Raiders Road has made him a nervous wreck. You question the old woman, asking where they have come from and their destination. You learn that they are a troop of players and have journeyed many miles from their native land of Croatia in the east. They last played for the people of Eshnar, but it was a disappointing show. It seems that the town was as quiet as the grave. Those who did come to see them were a sad and sorry crowd. They are now bound for Holmgard and hopefully a more appreciative audience. Light is fading, remarks the old woman. Perhaps you and your men will camp with us tonight? We would deem it an honor, and would be happy to entertain you all with songs and dancing. You notice a hopeful look in the eyes of your men as they await your decision. Sure. The wagons are drawn into a circle and you set up camp inside. A ranger is posted to patrol the perimeter. The troubadours construct a small stage onto which strides Yesu. He calls for silence before announcing the title of their play, The Brave Warriors of Summerland, a choice that meets with the hearty approval of your men. During the performance, you notice something very odd. Not only is one of the actors using a real sword, but it is a type of sword only issued to officers of the Somlending Cavalry. After the play, you approach the man to question him about the sword. He looks at you nervously and makes a dash for the darkness of the perimeter wagons. What? Sure, let's track him. Although the wagons are shrouded in darkness, your Kai sense reveals to you the actor's hiding place. You climb the ladder at the rear of a large caravan, push open the door with your weapon, and enter. Oh, did he maybe rob the last caravan? Oh! In the plush, candlelit interior of the caravan, let's change the music. You find the actor cowering beneath a blanket in the far corner. You flick the blanket aside and ask the petrified man to explain how he came to possess a fine sword. I bought it in Eshnar, he stammers, his eyes wide with fear, from the innkeeper of the Pick and Shovel Tavern. From the innkeeper of the Pick and Shovel Tavern. He grasps the sword by the blade and offers it to you. If it is your sword I have unwittingly bought, I am truly sorry. Here, please take it. You grip the brass hilt and examine it closely. There is no doubt. It is a Somlending cavalry sword, but the inscription on the blade makes your heart miss a beat. Captain Remir de Val, King's Guard Regiment. Go on, we'll keep it. You return to the troubadour's stage in time for a meal that has been prepared by your hosts. The steaming broth smells most appetizing. That got me suspicious now. What if this troop... No, it's a bit of a long shot, but what if this troop... Like... They don't seem very well... I mean, I could just lose 3 endurance points. What if they're trying to drug us all? Take all our stuff. Like, that could be how he got the sword. show finally comes to an end and you make the necessary preparations for a night's sleep. At dawn the next day, you and your company bid farewell to the traveling players and continue on your way to Ranon. Mile after mile, you ride across the flat and desolate landscape surrounding the Ranon Pike. So weapon-wise, we have like 2 special weapons. Bone Sword and Captain Deval's sword. You have entered the wildlands south of the pass of Moitura and cannot use the kite discipline of hunting. Yet in spite of the uninspiring view, your men seem in fine spirits. They sing rousing marching songs to relieve the tedium of the journey and help to allay fears of what may lie ahead. During the afternoon, storm clouds gather above the peaks of the Derncrag Mountains to the west, and the roll of distant thunder warns of imminent rain. It is late afternoon when your scouts sight a coaching tavern on the highway ahead. It is a large stone building that has been fortified. Sure, we'll stop at the tavern. The sound of a tolling bell drifts across the barren landscape. Window shutters slam down, but eyes still peer at you from the arrow slits carved into the walls. You draw your company to a halt outside the wide tavern doors. "We are Somlending. We seek shelter for the night and fodder for our mounts," you shout. There is a long pause before a voice answers your call. "Go away!" shouts a nervous voice. "We're a tavern, not a barracks," shouts another. You try to reason with them, but they are adamant. They will not let you enter. You have no choice to continue along the highway. We need to investigate these places, because, like, we need to find clues for where Captain Deval is. We have no idea. You have not ridden far when a storm cloud breaks directly overhead and torrential rain crashes down. Within minutes, the dry and dusty highway is transformed into a quagmire. It will be impossible to set up camp in this storm, so you resolve to continue to ride all night in the hope that the storm will soon pass. During your night ride, you must... Oh, okay, fine. We won't eat. You're about to order your men to make camp when a scout gallops towards you from the east. He points to a line of horsemen in the horizon. "Bandits," he cries. You estimate that there are at least 200 of them. 200? We haven't... This is the maximum rank. We haven't reached that rank. Bleak, treeless wildlands offer no cover in which you can hide from the bandit hordes. They outnumber your men by 4 to 1. And the life and death of your entire company now depends on your decision. Let's try to keep the company together, but we need everyone. Let's go south. The long night ride and the lack of sleep begins to tell on both your men and their horses, no matter how hard you urge your company on. You cannot outdistance the bandit horde. Suddenly, a large force of armored horsemen appear from behind a shallow ridge to your left. They are trying to cut across and block the highway. As your paths converge, you brace yourself for the imminent confrontation. With a bone-jarring crunch, your horse crashes into the flank of a bandit steed, and you are hurled head over heels to the ground. You are stunned by the shock of impact and fail to see the blade that bites into your shoulder. Combat ratio 10, oh my god, this is gonna be easy. Well, he's actually fighting well. Okay, got him. Your enemy falls from the saddle, and his body is dragged away by his horse, a twisted foot ensnared in the stirrup. All around you, the din of battle rages. You realize that these armor-clad horsemen are no ordinary bandit clan. They fight with a discipline and skill unheard of among the lonely outlaws of the wildlands. horse passes close by, the dead body of a ranger still upright in the saddle. You snatch the reins and retrieve a war horn from the dead man's neck. If you are to avoid total disaster, you know that you must quickly sound the retreat. You wheel your steed towards the south and spur the blood-spattered animal to the gallop. The remnants of your company are close at your heels, the victory cries of the foe resounding in their ears. When you are certain that the bandits are no longer in pursuit, you halt to rally your tired and tattered company. Only 10 men have survived the battle. We lost 40 men? The rest have either been captured or been killed before they could escape. With the highway to Summerland now cut off by bandits, you have no choice but to continue southwards. You've been riding for over 4 hours when you see a flock of birds. They are black and very large and are swooping around the brow of a distant ridge. You identify the birds as carrion crows, a despicable breed of wildland scavengers. Whenever a creature lies dead in the wastelands, you can be sure to find a host of these loathsome predators. Have a look. As you reach the top of the ridge, a gruesome sight meets you. The bodies of men and horses lie scattered across the shallow valley beyond, their bones picked clean by scavenging crows. You hear the gasps of horror as your men recognize the armor and tattered white uniforms of these skeletons, for they were once your countrymen, storm-lending guards of the king's cavalry. They must have died in battle, for the corpses of bandit warriors lie entwined among them. 40 brave soldiers, nearly half of the squadron that left home guard 1 month ago, now lie before you, and it is with heavy heart that your men set about the grisly task of burial. As you ride away from this valley of death, you are comforted only by the knowledge that Captain Duval was not among those you buried. After many hours of riding, you reach a highway junction. A large signpost indicates 2 destinations, south to Rannon and east to Eshna. Let's have a look at the map. So we went down here through this pass. So Rannon is down here. Eshna is here, so we're at this junction here. Like, okay, if Captain Duval escaped and went the same way, where will he have gone? Probably Eshna if it's closer. Like, or Rannon because it's in the forest and he'd have better cover. Alright, we'll go to Rannon. It is almost dark when you reach the edge of a densely forested valley. You can just make out the highway disappearing into the trees ahead and catch sight of a signpost pointing towards the south. You are now only 40 miles from Rannon, but your men are tired and in need of food and rest. Alright, let's scout for bandits. You send 3 of your men into the valley with orders to scout the highway and its forested borders for bandits. Before the scouts leave, you remind them to report back within 2 hours. Despite their fatigue, your men are now alert and ready for action, for it has been over 3 hours since your scouts departed and not one of them has yet returned. Oh, for goodness sake. Wait until dawn. At first light, you prepare to enter the valley. The highway is enshrouded by mist, and soon on both sides the Rannon forest closes in. A tangle of pale grey tree trunks of every shape and size crowd thickly around you. After a few minutes' ride, you find the wreck of a burnt-out wagon abandoned at the side of the road. Behind it, a track disappears eastwards into the hills. Check the wagon. No cargo remains inside the charred shell of the wagon. The wood is black, and the metal fittings have buckled and blistered in the heat. However, in spite of the damage, you find enough proof on the ashes to confirm your suspicions. This is the wreck of a Somme-lending cavalry wagon, one of 3 that left for Ranon with Captain Dval's troop over a month ago. Okay, so we're on the right track, maybe. As you stand in the wagon, brushing the ash from your hands, one of your men suddenly cries out in pain. You glance up in time to see him fall from his horse, a disc of sharp steel embedded in his chest. Ambush! Take cover, you shout, as more of the deadly discs whistle out of the trees to claim their victims. Frightened horses gallop in all directions, your men desperately clinging to the reins. The hidden attackers vanish as quickly as they came, but not before 3 of your men are left dead upon the highway. You've only got 4 men left. After burying your dead, you must decide on the best course of action. For now, only 4 men remain at your side, and the hidden enemy may return at any time to finish their evil handiwork. If we just keep moving at full speed, it'll be harder for them to hit us with those discs. It is noon before you are forced to call a halt. You have reached the edge of a ridge, where the highway begins a long descent towards a wide wooden bridge. This is the Ranon Bridge. You recognize its stout, black timbers and the dark waters of the River Jain that flow beneath. On the far side of the bridge lie the fire-blackened ruins of an inn and the unmistakable silhouette of a bandit horseman. At the entrance to the bridge is a white signpost pointing across the bridge to the south, Ranon 12 miles. You know it would be suicidal to attempt to cross the bridge. The bandit horsemen each carry a heavy crossbow slung from their saddle. Damn. Where are we? This river here. We can go downstream, or maybe we could go to Jain. Just put on some more coffee. You lead your men in single file into the forest, but in less than a minute the trees have become far too dense for you to be able to continue on horseback. You are forced to dismount and hide your horses before continuing on foot. Then, by great stroke of luck, you find a narrow track leading to a ramshackle boathouse at the edge of the River Jain. If it contains a boat, you should be able to cross the river with ease. Sure. One sharp blow with the edge of your hand is all that is needed to smash the lock on the boathouse door. Your curiosity is soon rewarded by the sight of an upturned rowing boat resting upon a pair of wooden trestles. A pair of pitch stands beneath it. From the layer of dust covering the surface of the boat, you judge that it has stood undisturbed for several months. Search for other useful items. Yeah, why not? A thorough search uncovers the following items. Pickaxe and a shovel each occupy the space of 2 items. Oh man. So we can't take any more weapons. We've only got 1 space in the backpack, but we can get rid of stuff. We've got rope. I don't know if they'll use rope again. We don't actually need the potions, to be honest. Like, after combat, we can usually heal. Keep the alarm split potion. So if we free up 2 spaces, then we can take... Don't bother with pick and shovel. Take a... tinderbox, maybe? We can take a tinderbox right now. So if we put down... If we put down these potions. Okay, put down this potion. And this one. And we've got 2 free spaces. Keep these potions because they're good. And we'll take... pick and shovel sound useful, but... torch and hourglass, I don't know. Or I think torch and hourglass. I mean, what do we need an hourglass for? Timing something? Like, how many minutes is on the hourglass? Maybe we'll take a pick or shovel. Which one? Well, if we find a cave or something that is blocked, maybe the pick will be used for getting through it. Shovel used for digging. Which is more useful, picking or digging? Alright, let me think about that while I just get my coffee. I think maybe a shovel will probably end up being more useful. I'll take a shovel. On the far side of the boathouse, a narrow slipway descends to a door at river level. One of your men hurries over and raises the stout drawbar while the others carry the rowing boat down the ramp. You push off and clamber aboard, emerging from the boathouse with such a jolt that you are thrown forward in a heap. By the time you have disentangled yourselves, the boat is firmly in the grip of the river current. You grab an oar and fight to keep the boat in the center of the rushing water as it speeds on its course through the foothills of the Macan Range. But no sooner has the boat been brought under control than you are confronted by an unexpected hazard. Ahead of you, the river suddenly disappears into the rock face beneath a massive granite ledge. It is too late to avoid being swept into the inky black cavern. As you glide into the darkness, you prepare yourself for any hidden dangers that may lurk inside. The ceiling of the cavern is so low that you're forced to all press yourselves against the bottom of the boat to avoid head injuries. Nearly an hour, the boat is swept through a maze of underground waterways before coming to a sudden halt. You're grounded upon a bank of shingle. You're in a section of the tunnel that is much higher than any of you have previously traveled. To the south, the river continues into the rock face, but to the west you notice another shingle bank and a land tunnel beyond. I think we should get off the river. Like, at some point we're gonna get trapped. You are halfway across the underground river when the inky black water begins to seethe and boil. You cling to the gunwale and urge your men to row for all they are worth, for the turbulent water now threatens to capsize your crowded little boat. Suddenly a hideous greyish tentacle breaks through the surface. Like a whiplash, it crashes down, splintering wood and cracking bone as it coils around two of your men. Before you could even draw your weapon, they have been dragged down into the bubbling depths. Then another tentacle rises, snaking towards you. It stabs at your chest and tries to butt you overboard. If your endurance point is 20 or more, add 3 to the number. Right. The lightning reactions have saved you from the river. I have a feeling that would have been instant death. You sidestep in time to avoid the sinuous tentacle and lash out. The blow opens a wide gash and an arc of green blood sprays across the battered rowing boat. Only 2 of your men remain. One stabs at the tentacle around his foot, and the other lies unconscious at your feet, his arm badly broken at the elbow. Try and free this ranger, maybe? One blow is enough to sever the writhing tentacle and free the ranger. He shouts his thanks and quickly slices the tip from another rubbery limb as it rises from the slime-stained river. Suddenly there's a tremendous crack as yet another tentacle punches its way through the bottom of the boat. The boat is lifted into the air and you're hurled into the icy cold water. Barely have enough time to catch your breath before a tentacle coils around your legs and drags you down. Pick a number from the random number table, 6, and note this down in the margin of your action chart. This is our oxygen level. Oh, this won't be too bad. Insta kill. We win. The hideous creature uncoils itself from your legs and sinks into the water. You are elated by your victory, but your lungs feel as if they are on fire. You claw your way upwards until you eventually reach the surface, choking and gasping for air. The only sign of the rowing boat and your men that remains on the surface of this dark and dreadful river is a splintered oar floating nearby. You hook your arm over this and drift with the current towards the far bank. A check of your backpack and pockets reveals that nothing was lost during your struggle in the water, but this discovery comes as cold comfort now that your brave company is no more. We're lone wolf once again. Feeling yourself against the unknown dangers that may lie ahead, you resolve to reach Rananon and uncover the veil of mystery that surrounds it. First, you allow yourself one last look at the Black River before you enter the West Tunnel. You followed the tunnel for 3 hours before arriving at a great hall where several tunnels, all at different depths, meet up. A series of wide stone ramps connect each tunnel to those immediately above and below. 4 levels below you, teams of men are pushing wagon loads of ore. Others, dressed in red armor, stand guard over the wagon pushers and urge them on with whips and curses. The tunnel in which you now stand is on the highest level. You realize that the only way you can proceed is by descending the ramp to a tunnel on a lower level. To your dismay, you notice that each of the ramps is guarded by armed men. Inching forward, you peer over the edge of the ramp. Two guards are sitting near the tunnel entrance below. They're laughing and giggling and pointing at an empty wine flagon that lies at their feet. After watching them for several minutes, you decide they're probably too drunk to notice you. You decide to make a dash for the tunnel. Damn, we had the camouflage, but even that didn't help. This is an easy battle. You're halfway down the ramp when a guard turns to face you. He blinks and rubs his bloodshot eyes in disbelief. You seize your advantage and sprint at the man, hoping to reach him before he fully comes to his senses. Just as he begins to shout, you strike and send him tumbling over the edge of the ramp. The other guard draws his sword and staggers to his feet. He is obviously very drunk and maddened by your attack. He springs towards you like a rabid dog. Dead. Quick search of the body reveals the following items. Brass key, we should probably take the brass key. Right, we need space for the brass key. Alright, I'll use one of these potions. Just use the alarm spell potion, I guess. No, okay, just use this red potion. Take the key. The hoarse cries of the guard echo along the tunnel. You soon reach a section where repairs are in progress. A prop in the center of the passage supports a cracked roof beam. You could just knock away the prop, it might cause the roof to fall in, which would seal off the passage behind you. You can now hear the running footsteps of more than one guard approaching. Go on, let's try that. The wooden pillar is stout and firm. It will take a heavy blow to dislodge it. We do possess a somersault. With one slice of your golden sword, the timber splits in two. A shudder runs through the ground, and with one mighty roar, a deluge of earth and stone completely fills the tunnel. Clouds of dust engulf you, and the force of the blast throws you to the floor. All the torches are extinguished. You lose one endurance point. Alright. Staggering to your feet, you hurry along the dust-choked tunnel to where the wall torches are still burning. The tunnel soon emerges into a large chamber, divided by a deep mine shaft. A dark-skinned warrior in tatty leather armor stands guard at the entrance to the wooden bridge spanning the shaft. He is whittling a block of wood and grumbling to himself about how unfair it is he is given the most boring duties. On the far side of the chamber, a tunnel disappears into the west wall. You know that if you are to reach the tunnel, you must get past the guard and across the bridge. Use camouflage. Using your kite skill, you blend into the shadows of the chamber wall and slowly inch your way nearer and nearer to the bridge. Suddenly, the guard puts down his block of wood and turns his back. He is rummaging in his haversack for some food. You see a chance and sprint towards the bridge, your weapon poised to strike down the unwary guard. The guard hears you approaching and spins round. He stares at you aghast and unsheathes his sword. Due to the surprise of your attack, you may ignore any endurance points lost in the first round of combat. Alright. Easy. Alright, we won't take anything. Upon reaching the far side, you detect the sound of running footsteps somewhere in the distance. You decide against waiting to see who it is and leave the chamber by tunnel in the west wall. Less than 50 yards along the tunnel wall, you notice a lever. Your Kai instincts make you naturally suspicious of this unusual feature, and you scour the floor looking for evidence of a trap. You find nothing, but a glance at the roof reveals the underside of a wide portcullis hidden between two beams. You pull the lever and the portcullis falls, sealing off the tunnel behind you. To make sure you will not be followed, you smash the lever with a wedge of stone before continuing along the tunnel. You continue along the tunnel, which runs for several miles, before eventually arriving at the long deserted gallery. A line of empty ore wagons lie parked along a stretch of track that disappears into the west wall of this gallery. Above the arched tunnel, a flight of wooden stairs leads to a smaller passage split by a sputtering torch. You stay hidden in the shadows, watching the gallery for half an hour before you are satisfied that it is safe to enter. Okay, we've got tracking and we've got that ramp. Judging by the smoothness of the stone floor and the condition of the ore wagons, you deduce that this gallery must service a major section of the mines. A fresh breeze can be felt blowing out of the west tunnel, and you sense that you must be near the surface. Ranon lies due west, the same direction as the ore wagon tunnel. How did that happen? Oh, the river runs to the east. Oh, stream was to the east, not the west. Okay, fine. So we basically tunneled through these mountains. As you make your way along the torch-lit tunnel, you pass several ore wagons bearing the same design branded upon their wooden sides, a cross-mow line above the initials OV. You recognize the seal of Oren Vanelon, the Baron of Ranon, and it confirms the fact that you are heading in the right direction. Suddenly, the sound of approaching footsteps begins to echo along the tunnel ahead. They become louder, accompanied now by shouting and the crack of a whip. We just get into the wagon. Raising the hood of your Kai cloak, you crouch in the bottom of an empty ore wagon and wait with bated breath. Through a gap in the wood, you see a haggard procession of men shuffling towards you. An escort of bandit warriors pushes them forward, beating any who falter or slip out of line. You feel a sudden jolt as your wagon is pushed along the tunnel. You glance up to see a sweat-streaked face peering down at you. "Run left when I say go," whispers the face, which then disappears over the edge of the wagon. As the wagon emerges from the tunnel, sunlight suddenly floods over you. Through the crack, you can now see your destination. The wagons are being shunted over a timber gantry, where the track ends some 50 feet above a huge mound of ore. Your observations are cut short by a hissed command. Go! Sure, we'll follow the command. You leap over the side of the wagon and sprint towards a line of densely packed trees less than 20 yards from the track. Luck is with you, for the bandit guards fail to notice your daring escape, and the wagons continue on their way towards the gantry. Pausing just long enough to catch your breath, you give silent thanks to the stranger who helped you, before pressing onwards through the trees. The trees are alive with bandit patrols. But your quick wits and Kai skills prevent you from being seen by them. Eventually you reach the edge of the copse. You find yourself staring out across an expanse of open plain towards Ranon. The sight that lies before you is very disquieting. Much of the mining town has been burnt to the ground. The blackened ruins of what were once shops, cottages, and taverns are now little more than smouldering mounds of charcoal. You're beginning to fear the worst, that Ranon has been totally destroyed, when a gentle breeze clears the haze of wood smoke hanging like a grey curtain over the ruins. Inside the perimeter of ruined buildings, a barricade has been thrown up around a tower of stone. Above the tower, a tattered flag still flies, bringing renewed hope. It is the sun flag of Summerland, edged with a band of white braid. cavalry standard of the King's Guard regiment. A sudden crack of a twig makes you freeze. You glance behind to see three bandits creeping through the trees towards you. The wide steel tips of their spears glint. They seem to be coated with a clear, sticky fluid. We have visited Gordon Cove. Well, apparently we have. I think I remember that, yeah. You recognize Ladder and sap dripping from their spears. It is a deadly poison. You dare not risk engaging in combat with these bandits, for the merest graze from one of their tainted weapons could be fatal. Leaping to your feet, you race away from the trees and run towards Rhiannon. From all along the forest edge, groups of bandits emerge from the trees, whipped and scolded by their bullying sergeants for allowing you to escape. This spurs you to quicken your pace and you uncover the first 100 yards with ease. Then arrows begin to fall around you. You duck and weave, making yourself a difficult target for the archers, and gradually the falling shafts dwindle in number. You smile at their futile attempts to stop you, but your confidence is soon shaken by a pack of snarling warhounds breaking out of the woods to your right. They are off the leash and hungry for blood. You are less than 500 yards from Rhiannon. The warhounds are closing in. Oh man. I don't know what to do here. Shall we fight them? But they'll delay. If we fight them, we'll be delayed and then the rest will catch up. Right, let's stop and fight them. The warhounds lope towards you at an unnerving speed. You can see their great red-lipped jaws clearly and hear the clacking of their fangs. You fight to control your breathing, to control all of your warrior skills, for you must dispatch the warhounds quickly and with precision if you are to avoid being torn to pieces. Two dogs, faster than their brothers, break free of the pack and close upon you. They leap simultaneously, the slavering jaws spread wide for attack. Dive forward and roll, striking at their bellies from beneath as they pass above. Both howl with rage and pain and tumble lifeless to the ground. Vasagonian warhound. Alright. Okay, we got it quickly. Beyond the approaching warhound pack, you can see that a dozen bandit archers are closing in. If you were to survive the rending jaws of the warhounds, the archers will be sure to pick you off with ease. Without wasting a second, you turn towards Rhiannon and run as fast as your legs will carry you. You try to ignore your aching legs and fear that knocks your stomach by forcing your concentration on the sun flag, a fluttering symbol of hope in the distance. Your face is streaked with sweat, and your lungs feel as though they will burst, but you dare not slacken your pace. The thought of warhound fangs closing and tugging on your skin is all that you need to drive you forward. At 400 yards, you can see that the barricade and watchtower are inhabited, but at this distance, the faces you can see are only a line of small pink dots on the walls. At 300 yards, you run into some gruesome remains where the corpses of bandits lie twisted on the ground, most killed by arrows. Many have lain in the open for weeks, a flock of startled carrion crows shrieking from their feast as you race through the bodies. You turn away in disgust. Suddenly a new sound drifts across the plain, the sound of cheering. The beleaguered defenders have spotted you and recognized your green kite cloak. 200 yards to go. You've just passed the ruins of a burnt-out cottage when you feel an agonizing pain tear through your left thigh. An arrow has pierced your leg, and you pitch forward into the mud and ash. Crouched in the ruined cottage, a bandit sniper raises his bow and takes careful aim at your head. A scream of pain and terror fills the air. The sniper crashes to the ground as the jaws of a warhound clamp tightly around his neck. Other hounds are drawn by his ghastly screams and he is soon ripped to pieces. You look up to see a man running towards you from the barricade. He has a shield in one hand and a long bow in the other. It is Captain Duval. He reaches you, breathless from his run. and draws an arrow from his quiver. The warhounds, tired of their victim, are in search of fresh sport and are turning their attentions on you. Dval aims and fires, drawing another arrow as soon as his bow is empty. Warhounds tumble and crash to the ground around you, felled by Dval's deadly shafts. The captain grabs you by the arm and swings you over his shoulder in one swift movement before carrying you back to the barricade. Others run forward to help him, but the bandit archers are now in range, and the men are forced back by a hail of arrows. The red shafts whistle past on all sides. Finally, you reach the barricade. A wagon is pulled aside and you are carried through the open gap. Captain Dval is close to exhaustion, staggers, and his men rush to catch him before he drops you to the ground. A circle of unshaven faces are staring down at you. A soldier cradles your leg as another snaps the shaft buried deeply in your thigh, but before you can even cry out in pain, he has drawn the arrow from your leg with one swift tug. "You are very lucky, Kai Lord," he says as he bandages a handful of Larmspur to your aching limb. "The wound is clean and the bleeding is but slight." "I was hoping the king would send a large search party," says Captain Dval wryly, now having fully recovered from his exhaustion. "I was beginning to tire of this town." You rise from your straw bed and offers your thanks to the captain. His brave and timely action saved you from certain death. "It is nothing to compare with you, Lone Wolf. Your bravery is legend. Your presence here is worth 100 men." He asks you about your mission, and you recount the events that have led you to this meeting. The ride south, the loss of your company, and your passage through the Marken mines and the bandits. "Yes, the bandits, Baraka's men," retorts Dval, his gruff voice conveying his contempt for them and their leader. "It seems we have both suffered at his hand. A month ago, he and his Vasagonian renegades ambushed my troop on the Raunon pike. We were sorely outnumbered, and the fight was indeed bitter, but we broke free from them and escaped here to Raunon. We have been beleaguered ever since, and praying for help to arrive. We have enough weapons to resist them. We have barely enough food and water to survive. You ask what has become of the people of Raunon. Most are now slaves. Baraka has taken the mines, and he has used the Ranese as forced labor. Other than yourself, only one man has escaped from the mines and survived the warhounds and the bandit snipers. That man is Baron Oren Vaneland. Come, I shall take you to him." Dval leads you to the topmost chamber of the watchtower and pushes open an iron-shod door. The sight that greets you fills your heart with sorrow and pity. Oren Vaneland is the 15th Baron of Raunon, a noble warrior of royal lineage, and 5th in succession to the throne of Summerland. This once proud and chivalrous warlord now lies upon the cold stone floor of the chamber, red-eyed and whimpering like a frightened dog. "He has lost everything," says Dval quietly. "Baraka has destroyed his castle, his land, his town, and his family. His sons are dead, and his only daughter has been taken captive by Baraka himself. I fear the ordeal has turned his mind." "Who is that tied up?" The pathetic man raises his tear-stained face and with feeble voice mutters a curious rhyme over and over again. "You do have the scroll." As you unfurl the scroll and begin to read its ominous contents, the Baron struggles to his feet. Word for word, he echoes the prophetic verse. "When the full moon shines over the temple deep, the sacrifice will stir from sleep. The legions of a long-forgotten lord, when a fair royal maid on the altar dies, the dead of Marken Gorge shall rise, to claim their long-awaited reward." "You must save her, Lone Wolf. You must prevent the sacrifice." The Baron's voice is choked with emotion. "Save who? Who must he save?" questions Captain Dval as he tries to calm the distressed Baron. "My daughter, Madelon. Baraka has found the dagger of Ashna. He plans to sacrifice my daughter upon the altar of Marken to release the undead of Markengorge." The Baron explained that during the Age of the Black Moon, King Ulnar of Summerland killed the mightiest of all the Dark Lords, Vashnar, with the Summer Sword. Sword of the Sun. His body and the bodies of all his soldiers were hurled into the bottomless abyss of Markengorge. He plans to lead the dead to victory first, to conquer Summerland and then all of the Last Lands, he says in despair. You stare at the Baron in stunned silence. If Baraka completes the sacrifice, all is lost. What mortal army can stand against a legion of the dead? Captain Duval ushers you from the chamber and closes the door. I feared he was insane, but your scroll confirms my worst nightmare. He speaks the truth. As the dreadful significance of the verse begins to sink in, your thoughts are broken by the shrill blast of a war horn. Captain Duval strides over to the arrow slits and peers out across the plain. As he turns to speak, you notice that his face is ashen grey. The bandits! They're launching an attack! You have his sword. You draw the sword and offer it to the captain. A look of surprise and delight crosses his face as he examines the blade. I never expected to see my trusty steel again. It is a good omen for the battle ahead. Follow Captain Duval as he hurries down the broad watchtower steps and out to the barricade. A rolling sound like distant thunder fills the air. Cavalry are pouring onto the plain from all sides, grouping up into battalions in preparation for the advance. Columns of foot soldiers in bright scarlet armor march through their ranks, herding a frightened wall of people before them. "They're Ruanese!" cries Duval, his hand shielding the light from his eyes. Baraka! He's using them as a shield! All around you, the captain's men have drawn their bowstrings, awaiting his signal to fire. But it is an order he dare not give. Suddenly, a hidden catapult hurls a massive black rock through the air, straight towards the barricade. You stare in horror as it bursts into flame and disintegrates, showering a rain of blazing oil on everyone beneath. The soldiers cannot evade the deluge, and many are badly burnt before the flames are smothered. A battle cry resounds from the enemy ranks, the signal to attack. The Ruanese are pushed aside and trampled by the onrush of Scarlet Warriors, who now race towards the barricade. The blazing oil has scattered Duval's men, and the barricade is poorly defended. You hear Duval shout your name. His cloak and tunic are ablaze, and he is screaming for your help. Man, let's help him. You push him to the ground and smother him with your kite cloak. The flames are soon extinguished, and you draw away your cloak to see how badly he is injured. Your quick action has saved the captain's life, but although his uniform is burnt and tattered, he has survived the fire unscathed. It is my turn to thank you, Lone Wolf. This time it is you who has saved me from certain death. You help the captain to his feet and race to the barricade. The enemy have now reached the ruined perimeter of Morannon, and they are creeping forward under cover of the broken cottage walls. Climbing up onto an overturned wagon, you order the Somlending guards back to the barricades. But is it too late to repel the attack? The Macedonian bandits break cover and charge, and you give the order to fire. A cloud of arrows sweeps down upon the armor-clad men, the hardened tips penetrating their scarlet plates. The first wave of assailants tumbles and falls, the second wave falters. Another volley forces them back, and they retreat to the ruins to reorganize themselves. Here and there, groups of bandit warriors have survived the hail of death and reached the barricade. Most are slain as they try to enter, but a small and determined section of their boldest fighters have broken through close to where you stand. Suddenly, a thick-bodied warrior with oily black hair tied in a knot at the back of his scarred head leaps off the wagon and attacks you. So we're not actually allowed to use these Lance-spur potions during battle. That sucks. Okay, but anyway, we've got good combat ratio here. we actually got quite hurt. Val runs past the wagon, leading a dozen of his best swordsmen in a countercharge and driving the enemy all the way back to the barricade. None escape alive. Those who survived Val's swordsmen are cut down on the plain by his archers as they run towards the ruins. The shout of victory has barely died away before you're faced by a new threat. Mantlet, a large shield on wheels, is being pushed slowly across the body-strewn battleground towards the barricade. Arrow shafts soon bristle from its thick wooden planks as Duval's men fire their bows, time and time again in an attempt to hit the shielded foe. Suddenly, a robed figure darts from behind the mantlet and levels a black staff at the barricade. He is cut down by an arrow, but not before he is let loose from his staff, a guttering ball of flame. It cartwheels across the plain and explodes with a tremendous roar, hurling the bodies of defenders and shattered barricade high into the air. Through the cloud of dust and debris, you can see a line of enemy cavalry charging across the plain. They wear tall, plumed helmets of polished steel and breastplates of deepest crimson. In the wake of the fireball, they pour through the remains of your barricade and attack. They give no quarter. The horseman spurs his horse towards you, his lance leveled at your chest. Maybe this is a good time to take the potion, and we'll fight him, I guess. The horseman is charging at you very quickly. You will only be able to fight for one round of combat before the momentum of his attack carries you past him. Right? If your enemy loses more endurance points than you. Okay. Yep. Your blow has unhorsed the bandit. He falls to the ground heavily, shattering his lance beneath him. He staggers to his feet and raising the hinged eye shield of his helm, he stares at you and smiles wickedly, exposing a jagged line of blackened teeth. He spits his battle cry and runs towards you, unsheathing a broadsword as he closes in. Hello, DJ. I got paper adventures. Well, I'm still alive from last time, so we're quite decent rank, and we got a whole bunch of random items, a lot of which may never be called for again. Still got the diamond. I've still got the ticket to Port Bax. Right, how healthy are we? Quite healthy. We can fight him. You are in combat with a Vasagonian horseman who is now on foot. You cannot evade him and must fight him to the death. Alright, well, we've got good ratio, so we'll probably win. Dead. Has the Diamond's curse messed with you yet? Not yet. I don't know whether we'll ever be asked for the diamond in any future books, but sometimes they do. Sometimes they do ask for random items that you got earlier in books. Probably not far down the line, though. Although sometimes items could be common items, so diamonds could appear in later books again, so it could still be useful. Like, they said it's worth thousands, but we can't trade it in for all that money. You run, half crouched, to the barricade. I'm assuming the diamond could be used as a bribe. Yeah, maybe. You run, half crouched, to the barricade and prise a bow from the hand of a dead soldier. You spotted the leader of the bandit cavalry, a tall, dark-skinned warrior with a thin, chiseled nose, rallying his horsemen at the foot of the stone watchtower. You know you must kill him before he can regroup his troops, or Duval and his half-pressed men will be ridden down, mercilessly slaughtered. So we're basically in the south of the continent now, like here. We're trying to find some guy who is trying to start a ritual to revive an undead army to conquer the world yet again. So we're being pressed by this army. They're trying to stop us, I guess, from counterattacking. You notch an arrow and draw back the bowstring. The straining cord bites into your fingers as you take aim. 47. You release the arrow and it whistles through the air and buries itself deeply into the mail-clad shoulder of the bandit leader. You hear his scream of pain ring out above the din of battle, but even though he is badly wounded, he still attempts to rally his men. You stoop to take another arrow, but to your horror, the dead soldier's quiver is empty. Looking up, you see two dismounted Vasagonian horsemen clambering across the barricade towards you. You throw down your bow and run to a large water cask defended by a stout, Somlending sergeant. The ground around the cask is carpeted with enemy dead. "Shoot the leader!" command, pointing towards the enemy officer. The sergeant aims and fires his bow with one swift and fluid movement. The arrow arcs through the battle smoke and pierces the officer's shiny breastplate. Slowly, his cruel eyes flicker and close as he slips from the saddle, the shaft lodged deep in his heart. Yes. "To me! To me!" Captain Duval's voice booms out above the battle noise. "Rally to me, Somlending!" The brave captain draws about him a shielded wedge of soldiers and charges into the flank of the horsemen. They reel and buckle as the shield wedge hews its way through their company. A Vasagonian herald, his crimson armor torn and his face smeared with blood, breaks free from the battle and sounds the retreat. You watch as the surviving bandits spur their mounts to the gallop, desperate to escape through the ragged hole in the barricade. Gripped by panic and fatigue, they ride through their own foot soldiers who are advancing to support them. The infantry falter and collapse as the cavalry ride them down. Captain Duval leads his men to the barricade and directs a lethal volley of arrows into the shattered infantry. It is the last straw. They throw down their weapons and flee from the clouds of wet arrows raining down on them from out of the smoke-filled sky. The battle cry, proud and strident, pursues them across the plain. "For Summerland! For Summerland!" All around the barricade, the enemy are retreating in disorder. Bandit war horns announce the withdrawal, exhorting their defeated warriors to flee the battlefield. The jubilant Captain Duval emerges from the war smoke, his eyes shining like jewels beneath the rim of his battered helmet. "We have triumphed, Lone Wolf! We have vanquished the foe!" All around you, the captain's men are rebuilding the barricade and tending to their wounded comrades. It sorrows you to see the Somlending dead, but you take heart at how few they are beside the enemy losses. "We have beaten this foe, but I fear that it is but a temporary reprieve," says the captain, his face now composed and somber. "The sacrifice of Baron Vanaland's daughter must be stopped if we are to avoid catastrophe, for our strength will not avail us against a foe freshly risen from the grave." The words of the verse flood into your mind and a chill runs down your spine as you realize what may lie ahead. In 3 days' time, when the moon is full, Baraka will sacrifice the Baron's daughter at the buried temple of Makan, a sacrifice that will unleash the dead of Makan Gorge, the Chasm of Doom. You know you must prevent the sacrifice. "50 miles south of Rannon, the ruined city of Makan teeters on the brink of Makan Gorge. Cold sweat breaks out upon your brow as you contemplate the difficulty of your mission, but you are separated from your goal by 50 miles of enemy-held territory, but there is still a flicker of hope. With the enemy in confusion and retreat, your chances of success will be far higher now than before battle. Before you set off on your perilous mission, Captain Duval offers you the choice of the following equipment provisions. Alright, well we've already got the rope. We didn't use it for anything. We've got space for one more item. Let's take the potion then. Can't take anything more. Dusk soon enshrouds the beleaguered outpost of Rhiannon, and you use the cover of darkness to cross the body-strewn plain towards the south. An old highway trails up to Marken, but it is choked with Vasagonian warriors. They stand about in sullen groups, tending their wounded and brooding on their defeat. However, even demoralized and dejected, they are still a deadly foe. It will be too dangerous to risk passing through their ranks, so you must use the forest to conceal your passage. Okay, whatever. We'll use the ones on the left. The forest is patrolled by bandits, but they take little interest in their guard duties, and you find it easy to avoid them in the dark. Then, by chance, you come across a small log cabin hidden deep in the woods. A candle flickers at the window, and the door is ajar. Or why not? The door slams shut and you spin around to see a bandit leaping at you from the shadows. His head is a mass of bloodied bandages, but he is armed and determined to fight. Oh, this is gonna be easy. Insta-kill. You roll the dead bandit over with the toe of your foot and make a quick search of his body. You discover the following items. Dagger. We don't really use these weapons. As you are leaving, you notice the trapdoor in the floor. Opening it, you see that it leads down to the cellar of the building. Sure. Oh, what? You are at the bottom of the cellar ladder when the trapdoor slams shut, and you hear a bolt slide across and lock. Who was up there? You hammer on the trapdoor, desperately trying to escape, but your captors cover the trapdoor with a heavy oak cask and keep guard in the room above. 4 days pass before the lock slides back, but the hands that open the trapdoor are bony and fleshless. Where was Captain Duval? Why wasn't he with me? Why were we not side by side at all times? Oh, that's so stupid. Oh, we were... Oh, that was... Well, that was a two book... survival, but... Oh well. Yeah, that's 11. So, yeah, I'll stop there, but next time we have to restart from the beginner's rank. Let's just roll that now. Okay, combat skill is okay. Oh god, terrible endurance points. But combat skill is more important than endurance. Wait, what's going on? Oh, it's still bugged, isn't it? If you restart the book after dying, it doesn't seem to be programmed correctly. Like if I choose things, just choose any things, it doesn't let me proceed. All right, we just have to fully restart the book. Chasm 2. Oh man, we're doing so well. Alright, combat skill 0. Oh man. Right. No fighting, except there was lots of fighting in that last run. So 4, endurance is average. So definitely we'll want camouflage. So we can only choose 5, right? Yeah. 6 cents. Funny enough, we didn't use 6 cents that whole book, even though it's been so common before. But definitely take healing. Take 6 cents. Tracking, I guess. That's 4. Well, we're avoiding combat, so we're not taking weapon skill, or mind shield, or mind blast, but might regret this. Animal kinship is often good, actually. A lot of animals out there. Zero, so we get the worst amount of money, 10. Well, shield is always good to have. We should take a weapon just so that we don't get the -4 penalty. Yeah, we'll probably find a weapon. I don't know. Well, I'll take the waistcoat. We'll probably get weapons soon. Because the waistcoat's more like unique. So we're back to Initiate. So we were at the rank of Guardian at that time. Warman or Journeyman. Pick one. Why is it one or the other? So, alright, I'll stop the stream there, but next time we'll have another go at this. So we kind of went like this, and then we chose to go like down this path, then we went down the river, through the mountains. Like, we had the option, I think, to go like more east towards Echelon. Or even west along this river. We are not good for combat right now. We don't have the summer sword anymore. It was such a unique weapon, and it did ask for it sometimes. Like, there were options where you could just automatically succeed certain things with the summer sword. Alright then. Stop there. Oh, I almost didn't save. Alright. I'll try and have a little go at this every day if I can, even if it's just a short attempt. Alright, see you next time.